Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is LolaAjisafe. Today we're going to be reviewing another episode of Put a Ring on It. Now, so this is season 2, episode 6. Title of the episode is called Game Changers. All right, so before we begin, housekeeping. Don't forget to like. So you click the thumbs up sign, one should do. Write something, leave me a message, and subscribe. All right, so we're gonna go into it. So pretty much, so what's going on right now? We've started at the top of the week again. You've got 3 couples. We're gonna start with the first couple, Erika and Jessica. And so, the first person on a date is gonna be Jessica. She's meeting up with, what's this dude's name? I'll come back to me. Anyway, she's meeting up with this guy. This is her second date with him. Shon is his name. Meeting up second date, so he comes. It's kind of awkward when they have them come to the house, but I guess if they don't meet at the house, it looks shady and shisty, but still it's just so uncomfortable, and depending on how the other person's feeling, it can be, it can go off in a different direction. So of course, Shon comes to the door, my man, Eric comes in, opens the door, and then they start this interrogation. It's real awkward sitting at the table. Homie came with a rose. Okay, I mean that's nice, but I guess I don't know. I guess he said he didn't expect it, so maybe that's why he came with the rose. So anyway, the interrogation starts. That's another uncomfortable moment, and then there's a point where Eric's asking him, "So what do you plan? What are you planning to do?" And Shon said like he's gonna see where the evening goes. He's gonna let it go. Wrong response. You're trying to get yourself slapped, but let's keep it moving. So anyway, they go out. I guess it's meant to be an active date, so they go hiking. I think at this point it looks like Shon was laying on a little thick, or maybe he wasn't, but I'll tell you what I thought. So they're walking, he's talking about how, yeah, she's breathtaking. Okay, all right, she's breathtaking. 1, 2, I see you. Yeah, you're beautiful on the outside, but I see you on the inside. Like he knew. I don't know. I don't know if he was doing a game or was gaming her or playing. I don't know. But yeah, I see you, and that kind of appealed. That was one of her soft spots where she felt like, in her relationship, she wasn't heard, didn't have any respect for what she had to say. And so him saying, I see you, talk about, yeah, he can't help his feelings, like he was laying on thick. Because I think this is the second date, right? And the other date was, what, 45 minutes? From what I understand, I don't know, but from what I understand, I don't think they have conversation. So how is he knowing her, and how does he see her if he hasn't spent that much time with her? So he's going about, yeah, I can't help the way I feel. All right, so anyway, we're wrapping this up. Moving on to, Eric's date with this lady called Leilani. Eric, straight up front, does admit that this is his type. And last week I mentioned that, he's saying he wants certain things in a person, but when he's, vetting the person or meeting the person, does he actually look for those things? Or is it later on he realizes, oh, she doesn't have this certain thing I like? And it appears that he just goes for the outside package and doesn't necessarily vet, because he was all Mr. Charming, Mr. Smooth, this is my type. But he did say something. He did, and but that was after the fact. That was, in the one-on-one where he was talking about, yeah, she was pretty, but she could hold a conversation. I felt like that was a dig. So at this point, it's like they're lit, because it was an edited version of the conversation, but I didn't see anything or hear anything that was so deep that differs from the kind of conversation he has with his girlfriend Jessica. So it's either, okay, maybe there's some editing that was involved, so we didn't see this deep conversation they had, or he's just continuously doing these digs. And if he's continuously doing these digs with the heavy flirting, at this point it's like, so why is he staying in the relationship? That's a question. Like, either, sit on the pot, do your business, or get off to someone else. Like, it sounds crude, but it's like he's almost staying around just to torture her, based on what we'd heard last week about the the emotional cheating that had occurred sometime in the past. So I don't think he's let it go. They haven't had a conversation to bury it, and he's still. It looks like that's what gives him energy. Like some people, when we do things that don't make sense, there's a payoff somewhere. And so I think the payoff for him is just constantly giving digs to almost pay her back for the way she had offended him then. But it's like he's constantly, having her pay him back. Like if you owe me $5, you don't have to pay me $60. Like, so he's trying to get his interest in on paybacks. That's what it looks like. So anyway, we get to the namaste circle, where they discuss the dates at the end of the week. And so, Jessica did mention that he, sat her down, and what she described was like an interrogation. Like she had like an FBI versus CIA interrogation, constantly trying to hammer out details. Once again, if you don't trust her, if there's some kind of lack, if it's broken and you can't fix it, then cut your losses and let it be. At this point, it's like, it's a little too much. And he was unapologetic for his behavior. He's saying, well, something about, he wants to make sure. So you're interrogating her. And the thing is, I don't think any adult wants to be interrogated and treated like a child. I don't even think a child wants to be interrogated and treated like a child. Talk less of a grown woman who has children. Okay, he's unapologetic, and they do talk about, the trust. Like, if there's no trust, it just appears that maybe he's jealous, but what is he jealous of? Because his behavior was probably worse, because he was leading with everything. Something else he was saying. He was talking about, and that's why I think he's constantly going for digs. He's like, she's very, 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 very pretty. At this point, it's childish. They're playing games. Who can hurt who the most? I don't know if she's doing as much as him, but his seems so obvious because he's constantly throwing out the darts. I know she threw out the dart, but he's really into me, so I think I'm going to go on another date. At this point, y'all just need to shake hands and call it quits. I don't know, because it seemed the goal of this relationship with both of you is just to hurt each other more than it is to build and become a team. Going on to Shon and Larhonda, they start off, their packet with, some they want to communicate, and we're not seeing what's going on. But what I'm understanding is Larhonda is saying that Shon has been accusing her of lying. He'll ask her a question, doesn't believe her, he'll call her a liar. And then he goes on. So there's something that hasn't been presented to us yet, but is being discussed. So there's a lot of stuff that might be going on off camera, and that they're now having a discussion about on camera. So he's talking about how he would like more transparency. If she's going somewhere, he needs to be told. That's not a reasonable request, but I don't know what's going on. He'd mentioned something about, when she went out to, one of her business meetings, or I guess out of town, she was, in her room with 2 male colleagues. Understandably so, I guess. This doesn't quite make sense. So I guess there's more to it than meets the eye. I'm just not understanding why he's calling her a liar. I don't know if he's imagining it or if there's something behind it. But I guess this will begin to unfold, because when it doesn't make sense, it means we don't have all the details. We don't have all the details yet. So there isn't really much to break down here, just that there seems to be definitely some misunderstanding. Like, yes, maybe he feels like he's batting outside his league. Maybe that's what it is. So anyway, going on to the dates. Larhonda's dates, a gentleman called Derek, they meet up. They almost seem better suited. She says that she didn't find him attractive. When I say better suited, in terms that it just seems... So the insecurity I see that Shon displays is the insecurity based on where he is and where she is. They seem to be in different places. She's more building. He's still trying to come out of survival mode. So there's a lack of confidence required. There's a lack of confidence that's in him that's required sometimes to settle down your partner, particularly if you're the male. So it looks like the confidence that Shon is lacking, Derek seems to have. And of course, Derek seems to be more established. And from what, I couldn't tell it visually, but from what I understand, Larhonda says that he's an older, I don't know what older is, like, I don't know what older is to her, but apparently she's saying that he's older, and so she wasn't initially attracted. They appear to have, and once again, sometimes this experience might be able to help her open her eyes, because once again, I don't know how much older is, but the problem here is that she might be shooting herself in the foot by just assuming certain things. Then again, I don't know how, I don't know what the age gap is based between her and Derek. I'm not saying they should be together, but maybe there's something that she needs to open her eyes. Maybe what she's looking at and how she's picking might be a little off, because they did seem more relaxed. It seems when she's with Shon, they seem mismatched. And it might be on different levels. I'm not just talking about money, but just this, he just feels, like has to do everything to hold on to something. And you know what they say about, holding on to something? You just have it, have it in your hand. Let it go. If it comes back to you, it's yours. And then if it doesn't, then it really was never yours. Or it was just, how we say people were here for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. I don't know. Maybe that's what this couple needs to learn from this, because there's a lot going on that doesn't make sense. So Shon has a date with someone called Tari. They had a yoga date. Yeah, they just had a date. She's an attractive lady, but neither here nor there. So moving on to the Namaste Circle, they break down their dates. LaRhonda says, you know, she wasn't really attracted to Derek, so she definitely doesn't want a second date. Shon says that he was attracted to Tari, but he doesn't want to, you know, maybe start something he can't finish. And so he definitely doesn't want to go on another date. And so Dr. Nicole decides to break it down further. She says that what she realized with him is that, yes, LaRhonda might say, you know, she may want to pursue a date with someone or may not, but based more on maybe she's worried about him or if she's interested. But it appears that with all the dates he's been on, he eventually decides not to go on additional dates with these ladies because he doesn't trust himself and doesn't want to risk, you know, developing feelings, that he's making decisions out of fear and not out of choice. Because his explanation was, he was saying, you know, if a man decides to look for something, he will find it. So I guess he's saying that you start, you know, playing with matches, you might get burned, you know, you continue to spend time with someone, you might begin to like them, and then his relationship now is at risk. That's true. But what Dr. Nicole is saying for this particular experience they have is, you know, he needs to examine what that is. What is he scared of? Because when you ultimately make decisions out of fear, something else is going to happen. He's been doing a lot of projecting. So he's scared that if he spends time with someone, he's going to develop feelings for them. And so he can't just understand that when LaRhonda goes out, or was she with someone else or anyone of the opposite sex, that it's just a conversation. He's simply projecting what he feels he would go through and assuming that's what she's going through. So he can't take anything she says at face value. Oh yeah, I was sitting down, we went for coffee and we had a conversation, and he's assuming, well, you know, he's now projecting that what happens to him. So that's why he avoids any kind of interaction with anyone else because of his fear. But then he's assuming that she operates the same way. And so this might actually be part of the unpeeling of what the initial thing started with him always calling her a liar and saying he wants transparency. So yeah, this paranoia is probably more, there's a deeper root here that needs to be uprooted. So he's worried that, or afraid that he will want someone else, and is now projecting that fear onto LaRhonda, thinking that she's in a similar situation. So regardless of what she says, he assumes that if she's talking to a member of the opposite sex, she will want them over him. That's a few things that he needs to delve in. We know he's got this insecurity and other things going on, but there's something else, and it hasn't been revealed to us yet. I guess it ultimately goes to what they discussed last week or the week before, when she tried to break down some of the reasoning behind going on dates with these people, when she was saying, you know, just trying to, you know, push the boundaries, because you have to start trusting yourself. Because when you start trusting yourself, then you can trust your partner. Because you don't trust yourself, you're not going to trust your partner, because you're going to project those concerns you have about yourself onto your partner. All right, so going on to the next couple, Alexia and Darion. So we started off with, you know, at the beginning of the top of the prior circle, when she had said she didn't want to go on a date with Darion, that she'd rather have a second date with the guy Monty, who she really had a great fun basketball date. And then just for the first time, we saw her open up. It opens up this week. She has a date with Monty. Once again, she definitely seems receptive, is very open. She's smiling and really communicating, and even talking about how she doesn't want to talk about, you know, because they start talking about what does he do. He talks about how he has, you know, other than what he does, I think is an engineer or something, he also does music. And then when she realized there might be some similarities, she's like, I didn't want to talk about it. So it just seemed they still did have a really good date. But going in, she has a solo counseling session with Dr. Nicole. And what it seems the outcome of this kind of confirms what we talked about. I want to say it was last week or the week before. So we know that they've been together 14 years. And in this 14 years, homie has sired 3 children, all supposedly in breaks. You know, we discussed it, that even if we gave him the benefit of the doubt and said these kids were sired, and you know, during the breaks, they were still conceived during the breaks. And that was, you know, if the roles were reversed, if she had conceived some kids during the break, would they still be together? No, they wouldn't be. I'll tell you that right now, they wouldn't be together. So to us, he's real playful, fun, Mr. Charming, but behind the scenes, he appears to have more power. Now the question is the more power based on, you know, the power that she's willingly given him, or is it other reasons? And when I say other reasons, one, and probably the most important really, is he the one who's financially responsible for them, her included? So if he's the one, you know, paying all the bills, and, you know, she's living a certain lifestyle because of him, does that make her feel like she's lost her power? So even when he may not necessarily shut her down or do this, but just holding that invisible control, like say certain things, and then just leave everything else to be inferred or implied. Because it's like what she's saying, you know, it's like she felt a certain way about him conceiving these children on various occasions, but it seemed he talked her out, not necessarily talked her out of her feelings, but talked her out of her being able to express how she felt and them being able to deal with it. Because his reasoning was, well, it happened during the break, and but it was never really resolved. She was more or less kind of shut down by that. And so, you know, I'd been saying, I know we had mentioned how she wasn't saying much, but her body language was saying everything, and that's all she had left. So she confirms that today. Yes, she felt like she lost her voice, she couldn't say anything, and one begins to wonder, like, what took that away? What happened? And I have a sneaky feeling a lot has to do with finances, because she goes on to say is that, you know, when they were having problems, you know, when she was still playing basketball internationally, he would say certain things about, you know, about how she wasn't around, and she began to feel guilty, like the demise of breakdown of the relationship was because of her doing, because she wasn't around with him all the time. And she said that was part of what led her to decide to retire from basketball. She decided, and she confirms that the basketball was her first love. That's what she lived for. And she gave that up for something uncertain, Darion. But she felt if she gave that up, then she would be ensuring the relationship. It was quite the opposite. So she took away what she loved to come to someone who she does love, but it appears doesn't love her as much as she loves him. So it's like she gave all that up. So she gave up her independence, and that she gave up her power. And now it looks like he's using that against her. Yeah, when you're in a relationship, you definitely kind of join forces, but there's a certain amount of independence you shouldn't give up, I believe. She gave up what she loved, and she gave up her source of income to sit down and, you know, chase around after him. And that happens all the time, but what that does is now gives him more of a license and more of a reason to do as he pleases, which is what it seems that's apparent as what's happened. So her retirement from basketball didn't change things. Her retirement from basketball didn't result in them getting married. And this is what happens all the time. You'll see women are the ones who end up giving up stuff. She gave up a lot, only to get nothing, or less than nothing. And on top of the nothing, a whole load of disrespect on top of that nothing. And so she's here reflecting, wondering what happened? How did she get here? 14 years later, she's here with a career that she gave up, which she wasn't done with yet, but gave it up for him. Don't do stuff for people. And so even if he didn't tell her to do it, there is and will be resentment towards him because she gave up something she wanted, and she wasn't totally ready to give it up, but she gave it up because she thought she was doing it for the good of the relationship. But they're here 14 years later down the line, and the good of the relationship, three kids later, none of them, you know, by her, but she gave up her first love. That's a lot there. That's a lot to unpack. I don't know if these people gonna make it. I don't know. So anyway, they have the conversation, you know, Dr. Nicole encourages her to express that pain, because then that way, and I'm understanding the reason why she wants her to express it, because if that resentment sits there, they can't build anything on that kind of shaky foundation. She resents him for giving up her career, even though she made that decision herself. She's still saying she did it for them. And even though she did it for them, he's not really acting like she gave up something that meant something to her. I don't know if she ever kind of expressed it like that to him. She has a conversation with Darion. Apparently they had a heart-to-heart after her date with Monty, and he changed her mind. We don't know how he changed her mind, but he changed her mind, so they got on a date. And then she goes, and I think, you know, she makes these little things that represent, these monuments that represent, you know, peace in the relationship. And for some reason, she's fixated on his condo, which they might live on the outskirts of Atlanta and maybe has a condo in the city. And a lot of times he might go to this condo after a corner, whatever the case may be. So for her, in some way, she feels that part of her issues are that condo. The condo are not your issues, sis. The issues lie, and that's the thing we're doing again. We redirect the energy in the wrong direction. We put the energy in the wrong place. Your issue is not with the condo. Condo is not a living being. It's an inanimate object. So that can't be your issue. Your issue is with him, what he's doing in order to make you feel insecure and worried that if he's in a condo, what's he doing? He don't need to have that condo to keep to have you worrying about other things. But at this point, she's just fixated on, if you get to the condo, everything's going to be fine. Says, that's not your issue. But anyway, they had this conversation about the condo, and, you know, he didn't quite say I would, but he acknowledged. I feel like the way he answered was like, he acknowledged her concern with the condo. He didn't say, I'm going to get rid of it. I feel like he just said, like he did more than he's done before. Usually he might just, you know, just throw her concerns to the side, but he acknowledged that she had concerns about it. She heard that he said he would get rid of the condo. I heard him just say, acknowledged her concern about it, but didn't go ahead and say, I'm going to get rid of this property in this great market. I didn't hear that. But I think she heard what she wanted to hear, and she ran with it. All of a sudden, she melted, and she's now back to being great. And that's why they're here for 14 years. He don't need to do much. He'll give her like a little breadcrumb, and she'll run with it and be satisfied. But meanwhile, she hasn't eaten in 5 days, but she's okay getting a breadcrumb. That's the problem, and that's a problem. And I hope Dr. Nicole can help her fix it. Help her see it, because no one can fix you. You have to fix yourself. But she has to see it. I don't think she sees it. So all of a sudden, you know, everything's all fine and dandy because she heard him say that he'll get rid of the condo. I promise you, I didn't hear that. So anyway, you know, they do their little namaste circle. Dr. Nicole also picked up on, I can't even remember the wording. I didn't go back and play it out. But Dr. Nicole, who wasn't there, picked up and said, so you're saying the condo is your issue? Your issue is with the man. Like, he's the one who makes the decisions. This is analogous to when women go fight the other chick instead of facing the man who's the one who's cheating. Like, you married to someone, he's cheating, and you fighting the chicks on the outside. You're not fighting the person you did the vows with. You shared vows with someone, you are not confronting them. You're going to confront the outside. It's like, it's such a messed up dynamic, but it happens all the time. And I wonder, you know, how people in that situation can see better. How they, and sometimes I feel like it's a fear to attack that problem because inside they know. They already know what they know, but they don't want to admit it. They don't want to accept it. So they're looking for any other excuse not to go there. Maybe there's a fear that if I confront him, he's gonna call my bluff and say what, so, and then. And you're not ready to leave. So you don't wanna go to a point where you'd have to make a hard decision. So you wanna go and make little decisions by dealing with the other things on the side, like the side chick or like condo. That's not your main issue. Your main issue is him. Like, but maybe you're scared to face him, and then, or maybe you don't feel you're strong enough in that space to face him and hear what you don't want to hear. Because intuition is a thing, and it's like sometimes it's that fear. And maybe I don't want to hear it. Fair enough. But 14 years of I don't want to hear it has led you here. Led me to discussing you. Man, sis, I'm with you. I'm with you. We're with you. And we're all kind of rooting you on. We're here with you, and we hope you're able to get through this. I don't know if this is, I mean, I don't know him either, but it's not working for you. That's just my 2 cents. This situation is not working for you. I can't, you know, call Darion a demon or this or that, whatever, because I don't know him. I don't know what he's about. I don't know. There are probably other great things you see in him. But I think this situationship versus relationship is not working for you and who you are. That's why you're in the situation you're in, and the way you're feeling is the way you're feeling. If it was working for you, you wouldn't be feeling like this. So yeah. So anyway, they end up, you know, she says she won't go on a third date with Monty because all of a sudden she feels like everything's fixed because he's going to get rid of the condo. I felt like he heard me the first time. Sis, yeah, he heard you. But he knows that, you know, he has to give it. So it's just a game. I feel like he knows he has to give a little bit more. Because now, you know, the camera's around. People are more aware. You have access to help. So he has to give a little bit more to keep you in line. But you're still in line. You're still in that ring. He still has you within his control. But he's giving you just a little bit. Just enough for you to not pay attention. Just my 2 cents. He says he's not going to go out with Kai. And so she feel happy. But who was it that was like, yeah, it was Jessica's like, nah, I don't think this changed. Jessica's, she's damn right. Everything is just solved overnight. Nah, this is the Band-Aid. This is putting the rug over the dead dog. I'm pretending the dog isn't dead until the smell gets in the air a day or 2 days later. I don't know what's going on. But there'll be more to unfold. There's more for us to see here. And of course, some of the sneak peeks of last week. Kai. Now, what makes me wonder, because before the end of their Namaste Circle this week, Dr. Nicole had said that, you know, Darion needed to meet up with Kai to give her closure. If you listen to me a couple of times, I've always said that closure thing, yeah. it never really works like that. Like, I don't, depending on where you are, and that's, you know, where you are as the individual, having to be with that person without any spread of time, that really, really gives you closure. Just gives you another opportunity to make another bad decision. I don't know, that's just my opinion. I'm no therapist. I don't have, you know, no background in that. Don't know anything. I don't study DSM-5, so yeah, I can't tell you for sure. But just from what I observe and what I see and what I've experienced, sometimes that search for closure, you can actually have it on your own. But then, of course, when I feel like if a good amount of time has passed, maybe and the situation presents itself, then that's fine. But I just feel like just that, you know, so close. But I feel there's a reason, because I don't remember when this happened last season, when I can't remember a homie who had more couple dates just like he did with this woman. I don't remember Dr. Nicole insisting that he go and have a closure date with the lady. So I feel like Dr. Nicole heard through production that something was going on, and so she insisted, because she wanted to close the loop, that he go once again and meet up with Kai. And so now Kai has been stewing, because it's been, what, 2 weeks? She knows she hasn't picked for another date, so she's got nothing to lose. There's nothing more dangerous than dealing with someone who had nothing to lose. I'm not, you know, I just feel like Dr. Nicole knew something was going on. I feel like Dr. Nicole felt something was going on. Because even Darion was like, ooh. And so this leads us into next week, which is, we just see that Kai says that she slept with him, or he slept with her. It's going to be broken down, but just on surface level, they're both wrong. And I know Kai knows she's wrong. And I do remember her being really extra aggressive with him, even though she knew she had someone. But maybe she, I don't want to start guessing what, why, who, when. It's maybe time for this relationship to come to a close. Because if he's doing that, in the process of them saying they're working on something, he has self-control over a child. Still no excuse. Now with Kai, I don't know how, but sis, like, you played yourself, and because she had nothing to lose, she put it out there. I guess he felt, and that's what you'll see, like, these players, they always target people who they feel have something to lose. Kai has nothing to lose, apparently. So she's out there. So it turns out that these people slept with each other. Alexia says, we're with you. That's all I have to say. We are with you, guys. Let's wait for next week. Tune into next week. Let's break it down. But Alexia, we're with you. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Lola, over and out. What's going to happen next week is, how does Alexia hear this stuff? What does Kai do further on? What else does Kai tell us? We're going to get some more details, and it's going to be a further breakdown next week. How did the other couples fare out? Is Shon really going to find his confidence? Is Jessica and Eric going to see that really it's not working? Like, what's going on? Because we now passed the halfway point, so we need to start seeing some real things moving around, like move around on the chessboard. Anyway, guys, it's been wonderful. Thank you for watching. Take care. Lola, over and out.